Hi guys, so welcome back to another fantastic episode of Two Wacky Pundits, Dr. D and Dr. A.
Howdy.
So, what we got today?
Well, today we're gonna continue our tradition of the Penguin 60s classics.
Okay.
And I chose for you today an excerpts from the Tales from the Decameron by Giovanni Boccaccio. I don't know if it's in focus or not. Alright.
Okay, looks good enough. Yep.
That's good enough.
So in Italy, this is quite revered, this book. If I'm not mistaken.
It's a very, very popular book.
They love it a lot.
It's a very, in its original version, it's a very thick book. Because it has about 100 stories. In the summer of 1948, as a terrible plague ravages the city, 10 young Florentines seek refuge in the surrounding countryside to entertain themselves. They take turns in telling each other stories.
Okay.
And these are the stories.
This sounds like what's happening now, kind of. But through Zoom. What's happening now?
Yeah.
Ah.
But these stories are far more bawdy and lecherous, offensive, and in some cases even satanic.
As well? Alright.
Yes.
Cool. Alright.
So let's start with this one then. Because I elected to choose some for you. The most interesting ones. So, there was this girl who wanted to please God, right? And she was wandering from village to village in order to please God. And she stumbled into this hermit's hut.
Yeah.
And since she was a very pretty girl, this hermit found it difficult to restrain himself in many ways.
Okay.
And she didn't know anything, this girl, about the ways of the world. Right. So she started asking him, how do we please God? How do we further our God's plans? And since this guy's member was always erect at the thought of the girl, he devised this plan. He told her, this is my devil, right here. And he showed it to her. And that in between your legs is your hell. Now God wills us to put the devil back in hell.
That's really the story. No wonder the Italians love this book so much.
The Italians. Leave it to the Italians to come up with something like that. And anyway, this girl took very well to this sport. She started to enjoying it too much.
Okay. Until
all of a sudden the guy's prick wouldn't come up as readily anymore as he would want it to be. He wanted to.
Okay.
So he started shuffling, started telling her, maybe God wants us to have this connection only when the devil shows his ugly face. Only when the devil is erect.
Okay.
And after a while she left. She left into the countryside and into a town where she told his story to the hilarity, the great hilarity of the peasants there. And I think now it's become part of the lexicon as well, of the Italian lexicon, to put the devil back in hell. It means to have sex.
Crazy. Yeah, so now this is a very revealing book for me, no?
You can read it from beginning to end, and it will never bore you.
But actually, this book I would actually get the Italian version.
Obviously,
to really do it justice.
The Italian version, but these are very quality translations.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they are.
By Penguin.
But since we can pull it off the reading in Italian, might as well.
Let's see. All right.
Okay, so this is the fifth day, ninth story, if I'm seeing correctly.
Ninth story, yes. Yes. This is a story of the guy who he was a very rich man, and he lost all his money gambling.
Okay.
And everything he had left was this prized falcon.
Yeah.
Which he used to enjoy using to catch prey, that sort of thing.
Yep.
and he moved to a farmstead, his only remaining property.
All right.
And next to him, his neighbor was a very attractive lady who had a son who fell ill.
Okay.
And his last wish, the son, was to have this guy's falcon.
Okay.
So this woman devised this plan to go to this guy and try to get into his
good books.
Into his good books.
Versus commas.
Yeah, into his good books and maybe obtain the falcon for her son.
Right.
And she went there with the intention of doing so. And at that point, he realized how poor he was, and he didn't have anything to offer to this woman in the way of meal, in the way of food. So reluctantly, and without the woman's knowledge, he had the falcon's neck wrung.
He cooked her the falcon.
He cooked her the bloody falcon, and they had a very good meal actually. And after the meal was over and done with, she confessed to her original intentions. At that point, the man started crying. He told her, I have presented you with what you wanted, but you have eaten it already.
That's insane.
And the story ends with the woman, with the son dying, and the woman ending up marrying her suitor.
Okay.
Because he showed his magnanimity when he sacrificed his last meaningful thing to her.
Okay. Wow.
So now this next
kind
story
of ended up in a good way, kind of.
Yeah.
Sort of bittersweet ending.
Bittersweet ending. Now this one is a very salacious story.
Well, more than the first one.
One of the most popular of the Decameron.
Okay.
So a man was married to this beautiful girl named Peronella. And he used to leave the house in the morning as usual and go to work, right?
Right.
And this Peronella wasn't a very good girl. She used to take lovers all the time.
Okay.
In the house. And one of these days, the man returned early.
Right.
And found the door locked. And he thought, oh, what a virtuous wife I have. And she would lock the door so that nobody can infringe on her chastity. That's what he thought. And after knocking for a long time, the Peronella came out, scolding him for coming home early. And the suitor she had consigned to a barrel. She had a barrel in the house. She had consigned him into the barrel to ensconce himself in there.
Okay.
And the man told his wife, look, somebody has already, I have somebody here with me who wants to buy that same barrel for 6 ducats. And the woman told him, oh, what a coincidence. I have somebody in the barrel who wants to buy it for 8.
Okay.
All right, you understand?
So she's using him as a bidder.
Yeah, she's using him as a bidder. That's right. And
perfect excuse.
And he sends the other guy off, and then he starts negotiations with the person inside the house, the person inside the barrel, who told him, but there's something wrong with this barrel. There's too much junk inside the barrel, and it needs to be scraped off. And the husband told him, no problem, I will do it right away. And whilst the husband was inside the barrel, scraping off all the things, the woman was peering inside the barrel to make sure that everything was all right, and the guy was behind her, plowing away.
Okay. Oh, crazy.
Plowing away.
Crazy.
I mean, it has to be the Italians to do something so magnificently.
Well, even other place, but yeah, it definitely.
So magnificently.
It makes sense why it's so popular.
Malignant. Just in front of her husband, a few inches away.
Crazy. Okay, sounds interesting. So let's see here. 10 Tales from the Decameron.
This is about
10 Tales of Love and Laughter.
Yes, there's also a story
You
about
should add and porn.
and porn, because it is quite pornographic at
Okay.
points. There's also a story of a woman who falls in love with her subordinate. Her brothers don't like it, and they, under the pretense of taking him on a holiday, they murder him.
Ostia.
And they bury his body, on an island lake.
Right.
And this woman has a dream that that he is buried there. She goes there, she gets his head, puts it in a pot of basil, and grows basil in the pot.
Okay.
So
Original.
it's full of these stories, these exquisite stories that sometimes make no sense, sometimes are too short,
Yeah.
but usually are quite entertaining.
Okay, but yeah, it sounds like an interesting
I
read.
would recommend it in Italian, as you said before, because obviously something is lost in translation.
Yeah.
Something is definitely lost in translation. But the Italian would be old Italian then, eh?
Of course, it would be archaic.
Okay.
Relatively archaic.
Like Chaucer's Canterbury Tales.
Yeah.
It's quite
Yeah.
difficult to read.
Yeah.
If you're not used to that kind of English.
Yeah.
So
it's
that's about it.
All right. Okay.
That's about it. I hope I've
Cool. Well, I've learned something again for sure. about
kindled
this
your
thing.
interest in these
Yeah,
kinds of books.
Cool. Hope it did that for you guys as well.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
all right. So that's it for today, I believe.
Yes.
Again, you have any comments?
Put them down
You know
below.
where to go. Trolls, we're still waiting. We're getting
Oh,
bored
man.
now.
I'm bored
So,
now. Where are the trolls? They're all over the internet later.
I don't know.
They're like creepy crawlies. Why aren't they here?
We're waiting. We're waiting. So, whatever.
Whatever.
Okay,
Anyway,
guys.
May your God be with you.
Indeed. Bye for now.
Bye.